Well, the morning began for me as it did for most folks in Rancho Bernardo in the pre-dawn hours with a phone call from a friend who lived just a little bit farther east saying, "Do you see the flames? Can you smell the smoke?" And opened the back door, and sure enough, they were there. I could see the red glow just over the hill. Could obviously smell the smoke, the amazing winds blowing up the canyon at that time. So I knew it was time to leave. I grabbed the family, but we had been evacuated a couple of times before, so it wasn't like they were crying wolf, but I thought, we'll get back for everything. Let's get the pets out of here. Let's get the people out of here. Let's go to somewhere safe, more towards the ocean, and I'll double back and we'll start loading up just in case and go on from there. So got everybody moved to a friend's house in Encinitas, and the fire was going so quickly that by the time we got to Encinitas, people were saying, we're gonna have to evacuate here too, we're gonna have to move again. So it was kind of a double clutch. So by the time I got turned around and headed back to the fire with my cameraman, kind of looking for the western edge of the fire to start reporting on it, it was right on top of the house. And it was obvious that I wasn't going to get back, and they weren't letting anyone in. There was a fire truck passing by. It was just a pickup truck. It wasn't even a water unit because everybody had been dispersed throughout the county and even north of the county for all the other wildfires. They put us in the back of the truck, my cameraman and myself, and drove us up there, and the house was already engulfed. And that's when I stepped into the driveway and started reporting on what I saw. And I wish I could say it was kind of an heroic venture, that I saw my duty and I did it. But it was more of an out-of-body experience, kind of like being shell-shocked in a war. And I had pretty much, by my training, been predisposed to report on what I was seeing. So I was looking at a house on fire. It was my house, and I was reporting what I saw as best I could, trying to take the emotions out of it, which were strong, because I knew at the time people in San Diego were watching me in front of my house reporting on it on fire. My family was seeing it for the first time. So that's how they discovered they didn't have a house either. I knew that I did have a job to do, that there were thousands of my neighbors going through the same thing. And from my vantage point, because I did have a press credential and I did have access that other people didn't have, I could report that Salviati or, Maranatha High School was okay, and that I could report from what I could see from my vantage point. So I was able to disseminate some information there. And then I was actually had to tell my neighbors that their house burned down, and they had to say, Makovich's, you don't have a house anymore, and Kreitzer's, your house is okay. So it was really emotional and really close to home. And I can remember coming back the next day to bring my family back for our first tour of the burned out bulk of the house, still smoldering. And when we got back there, somebody had come onto the property and brought a dozen shovels and some sifters and gloves, brand new, all of it brand new, and also an orange tree to plant. And out of the goodness of their heart, brought it to us and donated to us so that we could start the rebuilding process. And there were amazing stories like that throughout the neighborhood. I mean, I truly believe that out of the ashes came a stronger Rancho Bernardo. I still, when I go to the grocery store, people say to me, "Are you back in your house? Are you okay? When we saw you, we thought about you, we prayed for you." And all through that experience, I realized that, we were all in this together. And that if we were going to come through this, it was going to take neighbors helping neighbors. It was going to help strangers helping neighbors. It's going to help people reaching out. And they opened up the Rancho Bernardo Community Center, and every resource was available there. I was lucky enough to find a home in Santa Luz. A minister lived there, and he wanted to do something for fire victims and allowed us to rent his house, and he moved to a condo so that we would have a home and be a family in a home. And that was another amazing gesture that came out of the fire. I will tell you that I wouldn't want anybody to go through, but I can tell you that we are okay, we are fine, we are home, and there was never a thought in my mind at any time from the day it burned to the day we moved back in that I ever wanted to live anyplace else. More than ever, I love the people. They are just absolutely amazing folks.